Yo, what's going on YouTube? We're back here at the garden, and man, there's actually a lot of people at the garden today. It's kind of weird. By the way, I've been coming to this garden for a long time, and there's very rarely more than 3 people at a time here. And the fact that there's almost like 10 people here today, crazy. I don't know what's going on. Maybe they're watching these vlogs and they're like, yo, where's that sick garden that Fars is sitting at? No, it's cool though. It's cool to see more people enjoying the place though. But yeah, but the problem is whenever someone walks in front of me, I completely lose my train of thought. And so I'm like off to a corner right now. But yeah. Anyways, the week. Where do we start? I guess let's start on Monday. Monday was the kickoff to the YC batch. And it was cool, actually, not gonna lie. It was actually pretty cool. Again, this is like my first time joining like a program like this of sorts. And so honestly, day one, you pull up to the thing and there's like hundreds of people outside. And honestly, getting out of my taxi, I was kind of nervous. I was like, damn, it kind of felt like the first day of school or something where you gotta like, where you're joining a new school and you gotta like make friends and stuff and you're kind of nervous. It kind of had that feeling. But yeah, it was cool though. Once I started talking to people, everyone's so friendly and nice, and so many people knew me there already from online through my past work or through my past projects. And the coolest was when I saw like BuildSpace alumni there who were just freaked out. They're like, what the heck? Farza, what are you doing here? You're just spectating? I'm like, no, dude, I'm joining as a founder. And they found that very cool. Like, what? You're joining as a founder? The same batch as me? Full circle? Wow. So it was cool. A lot of people were just like freaking out. My favorite was this one kid was like, dude, do you remember I met you when I was 15 at BuildSpace at one of the events? And I was like, I didn't remember. And he pulled out his phone and he has a selfie with me and him when he was 15 at BuildSpace Dubai. And now he's 18 in YC, and he's like, dude, I started my journey building stuff with you. This is crazy that you're here. So anyways, a lot of little heartwarming moments like that. And yeah, but it's cool. It kind of feels good to just like be back to, I don't know. It's really funny how a lot of people found it almost like surprising that I'm joining as like a founder. I guess they would expect me to do something else. Like, I don't know, like join as like a partner or join as an investor or something like that. But I'm like, nah, dude, I want to be the guy making stuff. I want to be the person making things. And so it was funny how other people found that surprising as I was walking around talking to folks. Anyways, yeah, day one was cool. Just met everybody. Day two was like there's like a second day of the kickoff. And that was cool. It was like a full day of talks, random stuff, everything from like how to use Claude Code better with Gary Tan all the way down to like just a bunch of stuff. And the coolest thing though was at the end of the day, they had a talk with Brian Chesky. So all 400 founders got together and they had a giant kind of hall where they gave us dinner. And then Brian Chesky gave a great speech about, you know, Airbnb and all the different stories and secrets as they were building Airbnb. Most stuff, you know, I've never heard. So it was actually really cool to hear his story. And you know what's funny is like, as he was talking, like I realized that I don't really get the same inspiration anymore from these types of stories. Like I still find them intriguing and interesting and like kind of like thrilling, but I don't find them like, I don't find that they energize me that much or they inspire me all that much. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like you worked really hard and you built a company. Awesome. But I think that's like the jaded guy within me a little bit. And I think it's very important that like I stay really curious and I stay really open to all the different stories and all the different like energies that people are putting out. Otherwise, I think it's so easy to get jaded and be like, oh, just another story of a guy who worked really hard and made Airbnb, you know? But I think it's worthwhile to try to like dig deep and find curiosity even as I do get older. Because honestly, if I was 22 sitting there listening to that talk, dude, I'd be fired up. I'd be like, let's go fucking build, you know? But instead, it's so funny at 30 how different it is. Another observation is everyone at YC is quite young. They're all aged 19 to 24. And I really do feel like one of the oldest guys there, which is good and bad. Mostly good, to be honest. I think like, I love the energy that like younger people have. They're so quick, they're so fast, they're so intelligent. They're always on top of the cutting edge. But at the same time, there's this group of older founders as well, and they're a lot more calm, patient, and I kind of want to balance both of those attributes, you know? Because I think you have to balance both attributes to really do something wonderful. And I also just love how naive a lot of the younger founders are. And I kind of want to channel more of that naivety within me, because again, I think as you get older building stuff, you do lose your naiveness. Suddenly, when you set out at 19 years old to take over the world, and then when you're 30 and you haven't taken over the world yet, you're kind of asking yourself, damn, like, is it still possible? Am I doing something wrong? You know what I mean? So, oh, damn, the sun's in my eyes now. Anyways, that was the first 2 days of YC. Pretty interesting, pretty fun. And again, it was a fun experience. I enjoyed it. Again, it was like the first time I've joined something like this. So, and then Wednesday, I built this product called Clicky. So the idea was, I had this idea that what if you had an AI that could always be watching your screen, and you can talk to it, and then it could see your screen and help you with whatever you're trying to do. And so built that out into a product and gave it to about 20 people. I used it myself actually to learn DaVinci. So you can actually go to any program you want on your computer and then talk to the AI. The AI can see your screen, it can talk to you back, and it can walk you through all your questions. It can even point at stuff on your screen. It's like a little cursor that's attached to your cursor. And so yeah, I'm probably doing a bad job at describing the idea, but basically, it was an AI assistant that lived on your screen and could teach you things. That was the idea. And by the way, everyone in YC kind of has an idea. They all have like a very clear one-liner and thought of what they're doing. And so I don't know. I kind of was just like, I didn't want to be the guy that was like, I don't know what I'm working on. So I just kind of picked this idea and decided to just roll with it. I was like, okay, I'm working on Clicky. It's this AI assistant that teaches you on your computer, blah, 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 blah. And even though, we had to get up on stage and kind of talk about what we were doing, it didn't feel good saying it out loud. I was like, this sounds like shit, but I think that sometimes it's better to just like pick something and make it yours and practice talking about it and practice like discussing it with others because I think that that's gonna make, it's better than being the person with no ideas. It's better to have one shitty idea, I think, and just like go for it and make it yours and kind of iterate instead of being the guy that's like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing and I'm still figuring out an idea. So anyways, I picked Clicky. I worked on Clicky for like 2 days and then I had an office hours with my YC partner, Aaron, and he said something very interesting, which I'm gonna butcher, but essentially he was like, he essentially always brings it back down to one simple thing, which is, what would you use yourself? And I guess with this Clicky thing, I wasn't that excited to keep using it myself. And then we just started talking about it for honestly the whole office hours. We talked for like 45 minutes about stuff I'd want to build for myself. And one of the first things that I thought about was I'd love like a founder notebook. I'd love like a place where I can put all my thoughts, all my knowledge related to my company and all the different inspiration I have around my company, different screenshots, different tweets, have it in one spot and have an agent that can actually, that I can talk to help me think deeply about my company. I would love that because that doesn't exist today. Or it does exist, but you got to hack it together. It's terrible. And so he's like, oh, just go build that. And honestly, it was as simple as that. And then I just got to work kind of building it. And also that day, Andre Karpathy dropped a tweet about this LLM knowledge system idea that he's been having, which was so similar to my idea. And pretty much, yeah, the next day I just built this thing out. Sorry, the lighting is gonna keep going on and off because the sun's going in and out. But anyways, I just started building this thing out on, what was it, Wednesday. And by the end of day Wednesday, I had pretty much, or end of day Thursday, I spent all day Thursday, I had this full kind of like system which was able to ingest all of my diary entries, all the images that I had saved, all the videos and audio notes that I had saved from my diary, almost 2,600 entries. And it took all of that and it turned it into my own personal Wikipedia locally, where it wrote literally articles about everything in my life and all the topics in my life. Everything from like the people in my life to the different ideas I've had, the companies I have, my different inspirations. And that was really cool. But then what was even cooler was that this ended up becoming a system that an agent could actually navigate. And this was the whole magical idea. A personal wiki backed by an LLM that can that's crawlable with an agent. So the cool thing here was that I had about 500 articles generated in my Wikipedia. It was like 500,000 words. Not 500,000 words, it was a lot of words, but 500 pages. You know, imagine 500 pages of a Wikipedia. And then the question becomes, okay, like that's awesome, but like how can the LLM now actually like understand this wiki and kind of go deeper into how it can utilize that knowledge when you have a query? So for example, if I ask a question like, you know, tell me about who my competitors are, for example, or tell me about, I'm trying to like build a new landing page. Can you tell me some inspiring landing pages I've seen recently? And so for example, how does it know that? How does it figure that out? And what's really cool is the system that I built, which once again was thanks to Andre Carpethy's tweet, funnily enough, I built this entire system that was able to actually take all of my knowledge, turn it into Wikipedia, but then the agent was actually able to crawl these different articles as I'm asking questions, intelligently crawl these articles and answer my question. So, you know, when you have 400 articles, you can't just have the agent read every article every time. It would take forever, and it would be very expensive. Instead, this agent does it very intelligently through one index.md file. That index.md file is a catalog of all of my articles in my wiki. And from there, the agent can kind of go deeper into the articles that it wants to read. And it's so cool because it's like, it's not using embeddings at all. It only used like the file system itself. And then the agent kind of smartly figured out what to kind of look at. Kind of like a real person would, in a way. So anyways, I'm not sure if any of that made sense. I'm kind of rambling. Anyways, I made that. And then on Friday, I kind of worked on it a little bit more. And then Saturday, I just put it on Twitter. And it got like 1 million views yesterday. Literally, it was 1.1 million views and a bunch of traffic. And it was cool. It was cool to see like all these people kind of like go crazy over it. This kind of simple idea that I had worked on. Am I gonna keep working on it? Let's see. I put out like a Stripe link on Twitter today. Like, hey, if you wanna pay for this, click here. And so if I get the 25 customers that I'm looking for, I think I'll probably keep working on it. But regardless, I think I'll keep working on it anyways because I think it's a cool idea. And yeah. So anyway, I rambled. I'm not sure if any of that made sense to any of you guys, but I just rambled for like 10 minutes. Overall, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling like, you know, I started the week with almost no idea what I was working on, like literally no idea. And I'm ending the week with like some semblance of like something. And I think that's just how it works. I really believe in this concept of like immersion, where when you immerse yourself in a topic or a way of thinking or something you're trying to do, you'll magically start coming up with new ideas and insights because you're immersed in that topic. So for me right now, I'm kind of immersed in this idea of like, how can AI help make us smarter? How can AI help inspire us more, make us better? And because of that, I'm like locked into all the different things. The new research dropping in that kind of idea. I'm thinking about ideas when I wake up in the morning about that kind of like in that kind of field. But most importantly, I'm just immersing myself in the act of thinking of ideas. And so the more I do that, the more ideas I'll naturally start generating. For example, you know, there's this in the Beatles documentary, Paul McCartney talks about this a bunch, where he says, and this is not quoting it, but he says, you have to be, it's that 3 months in the studio coming in every day with no ideas. And then on the 91st day, you kind of, no, what did he say? I'm butchering it. Pretty much he says, it may seem on a certain day that I magically explode with ideas, but what people don't see is the 3 months before that where I showed up every single day trying to come up with a song and I came up with nothing. And I thought that was such a beautiful thing to say because there's no such thing as magical creativity, like explosions. There's no such thing as like randomly coming up with ideas. What's real is like you immersing yourself, right? So Paul McCartney, he had to spend 90 days in the studio every day strumming on his guitar, coming up with nonsense to kind of put it all together in his head on the 91st day and come up with a great song. And I think like, it's very similar with me coming up with ideas. I feel like I just have to immerse myself in the act of coming up with ideas. And when I do that, I think I think my ideas are better. I think I just have a little bit of momentum, you know, to kind of push the ideas ahead. Whereas when you first start, like when I started on Monday, I'm like, dude, I have no idea what the fuck I'm working on. What am I doing here? Everybody has an idea. I don't. What the fuck? This was a mistake. But then it's like, no, just trust in yourself. Just trust that like being in this environment and pushing yourself every day to try to come up with something, you will come up with something because you've immersed yourself. And so, yeah, I feel like I'm getting more and more immersed every day. And I think my ideas are getting better and better every day. And it's been cool. It's been cool already. 1 week later, I've shit out like 2 different ideas. Clicky and then this little wiki idea. And that's cool. Are these good ideas? I don't know. But what I do know is like generating ideas quicker, faster, better is good for me at this stage. Because you need a lot of ideas at this stage, I think. And I think that once I kind of feel the need to focus, like once I see something where it's like, I think it's a question of like, when do you know to focus? Like technically I could just go all in on this personal Wikipedia idea, right? I could do that. But I think that for me to find focus right now, it comes from 2 places. 1, I need to be really excited about it. And 2, there needs to be some outside signal that shows excitement as well. And 1 million views on Twitter doesn't mean shit to me. What matters to me is like, who's using the product, who's potentially paying for the product. And yeah, right now there is no product. And I put out the Stripe link like a couple of hours ago. So let's see how many people pay for it. And I'll decide from there. Otherwise, yeah, maybe Monday. It's not about showing up Monday and coming up with a new idea. And what's gonna end up happening is all my ideas will become derivative or will build upon my previous ideas. For example, why did I build this Wikipedia thing that went viral? It's because before that, what did I build? I built Clicky, which was a knowledge, which was like a teacher on your screen. So it naturally led to the next thing. What did I build before Clicky? It was Make Something. Make Something was where I was teaching people how to build stuff with AI, right? And so these things are natural evolutions of each other, even though they may not seem like it. My mom called me the other day, and today, and she was like, you know, Farzan, you know, Farza, my name is Farzan, by the way, but my mom does not call me Farza. She's like, Farzan, you know, you're working on like a new idea every 2 weeks. Like, when will you find one idea, like Build Space? And I had to explain to my mom, like, Mom, like, before Build Space, there was like 20 ideas, you know, like there was a lot of stuff I worked on before you can find focus and like before you can really just go all in one direction. But what's cool is like, I feel like as I immerse myself in coming up with ideas, I feel like my ideas are just building on top of each other and they're getting better and better and better. And so I think in the next couple of weeks, next couple of months, I mean, yeah, like by month 2, 3, if I keep this up, it's gonna be really good. And one more thing from YC that I think I picked up and I wanna kind of keep close to me. Brian Chesky said at the talk, just follow your customers. And I know that is like the most fucking general thing to say. And it's like the most like average business thing to say, like follow your customers. But honestly, in that moment, I asked myself, I was like, do I follow my customers? And it dawned on me, I've never really had classic customers. Like at BuildSpace, our customers were like enterprises that we sold ads to. Before that, it was like parents. And like, I've never really followed the customer, to be honest with you. I've never really built something where it's like, I built it for the person that's also paying for it. At Zip School, who was my user? It was the child, it was a kid, but the customer was the parent. And then at BuildSpace, the user was like the builder, but then the customer was like another company who was paying me money to advertise their products. And so it's like, there's always a disconnect. And so I think it dawns on me, I was like, you know what? I really want to build something where the customer is the user. And I really want to build I really feel like this energy to not only work on something that I feel can be something that I love and that is beautiful for the world, but also something that can be a business and also something where I can get customers. And because I think I've always been kind of jealous of businesses with clear customers because it just creates so much good focus. And I think the product gets so much better too, you know? And I really want to kind of give that a shot this time as I build this business and really build something where, I mean, it sounds crazy, but yeah, has customers. And so I'm excited about that. I'm excited to kind of play the business game because I think I'm actually a really, really good business guy. But I'm excited to combine that version of myself with the version of myself that's also like really good at like making people feel things and building wacky things that are very different. Okay, that's all I got today, YouTube. I feel like this was a really weird ramble of a vlog, but hey man, whatever. You know, that's my update for the week. Feeling good, feeling happy, healthy, and excited to go into the next week. Let's see what I build. All right, bye.